Forget-Me-Not by Valerie Howard. Narrated by L.H. Warren. I awake with a rasp, clutching thin sheets with gnarled hands. A memory visited me in my sleep, but the moment I clawed away from the dream, my fragile mind flew apart again. I squint at my room, hoping something inside can explain the urgency I feel, the quickened heartbeat raging against my chest. I strain my old ears. All is silent, save for the soft ticking of the clock on the wall. My eyes aren't what they used to be, but I can still see the firelight's flickering glow cast long shadows over my bowed bookshelves. I check the clock. 7:30, and black as midnight outside my windows. Is it morning or evening? I rake my gaze across the room for clues, and my blurry vision snags on a line of shimmering Christmas cards propped open on the back edge of my writing desk. I stare at the parade of cards for a long time, feeling as if they are significant for a reason that eludes me. All they tell me is that it must be December. That answers one of my questions. It's 7:30 at night. Solving that mystery makes me feel slightly more oriented, but I still don't know what I remembered while I slept. My gaze drops to the 3 drawers on the side of my desk. My heart thumps, and my throat tightens as the bottom drawer's crooked handle looms in front of me. That's it. There's something vitally important tucked away in that drawer. I can feel it. But what? What do I keep in there? For the life of me, I can't remember. Hot frustration burns my throat. Moisture gathers against my lashes, and I wick it away with trembling fingers. My emotional reaction further confuses me. Why am I so upset? I haven't been able to rely on my memory for 10 years, maybe more. I can't remember. Ha! I roll my eyes at the irony and give my head a gentle shake, trying to knock a few cobwebs loose and clear my mind, but it doesn't work. I look around my room again and try to recall any bits of information I can to warm up my brain. I'm in my downstairs office, which would be a strange place to sleep normally, but my sons brought my bed down here 2 years ago after I'd tripped on the stairs one too many times and broke my arm. Now I'm happy to sleep next to the warm fire, though the flames do little to chase away my goosebumps through the long winter nights. I mentally list off the names of my sons, their wives, and their children and grandchildren. I only have to start over 3 times before I get all 8 of them in the right order. I sing my alphabet and recite a few song lyrics and memory verses I learned as a child. Funny how some things never leave you, no matter how tattered your mind becomes. But I still can't remember what I need so badly in that desk drawer. Panic sends a shock wave through my gut. I must remember. I must. I glare at that bottom drawer so hard, I think I might burn a hole through the dark wood with the sheer force of my irritation. but I still don't know what I stuffed in there that was so vitally important. The Christmas cards beckon me to come over and pull the drawer open, if I dare. I press my cracked lips together. I don't know the last time I was out of bed. Sitting up feels like an impossible task, so I'm sure crossing the room is out of the question. I slam a fist on the mattress and growl. What is in that drawer? God, you know what's in there. Please let me remember. I stare at the ceiling now, but nothing comes to mind. Nothing except the truth that if I don't act now while I'm lucid, I won't remember anything is in that bottom drawer tomorrow morning when the home nurse checks in on me. I have to know. The drawer beckons me like a magnet, promising that discovering its contents will not disappoint, threatening that if I wait until morning, it will be too late. My heart somersaults and my ears ring. I won't remember to ask the nurse to open the drawer in the morning and tell me what's inside. I have to do it now. Sweat moistens my brow, and I have yet to move a muscle. How am I going to do this? My bed is 15 steps away from my desk. I don't know the last time I took 15 steps. Do I own a walker? I crane my neck this way and that. What's this? A wheelchair sits by my pillow on my left. When did I get a wheelchair? I furrow my brow. It doesn't matter. If I can get into it, my trip across the room will be considerably easier. I reach up next to my head and muckle onto the closest handle of the wheelchair and slowly, painfully slowly, drag the contraption along the side of my bed until the middle of the seat is even with my waist. I'll just have to nudge myself to the edge of the bed, pull into a sitting position, and slide down off my bed into the wheelchair seat. Easy. My upper lip trembles. I take a few minutes to recover from moving the wheelchair. My breaths come in wheezing pants. I'll probably sleep all night and all day tomorrow after I see what's in that bottom drawer. I wish I could just remember. As I rest, I realize I don't even remember what it feels like to reach for a memory and grasp it securely. The kids all think my memory loss was triggered by the accident, but reality isn't that simple. Years before that, my husband would find a long-forgotten pot boiling over on a stove burner, or a half-done craft project sprawled out on the card table as I wandered in the front yard aimlessly. I'd make an off-handed comment about how I hadn't heard from a certain friend for ages, and he'd remind me that they'd been dead and buried for ages. I blanked on familiar names, misplaced my glasses daily, and confused myself trying to follow simple recipes. My husband was overly patient through it all. I begged him not to tell the kids about my weakness. I didn't want to see his worry reflected in their eyes. But then my husband was gone, and he couldn't keep my secret anymore. Having recovered from dragging the wheelchair to my side, I squirm my body closer to it. Aches and pains prickle all over, and my right hip gives such a sharp protest, I almost abandon my mission entirely. But I'm so close to the edge of my bed, I can't give up now. The mystery in the bottom drawer baits me. Something big is in there. No, big isn't the right word. Paramount. It's a matter of life and death. I know it. I take advantage of the tingling numbness that shoots down my leg and up my side to prop myself on my elbows and drop my feet clumsily to the floor. I reach out to grab an arm of the wheelchair and pull it closer to me. I shut my eyes and take 22 deep breaths before I shift my weight from the bed to the black seat. My transition is not graceful, and I'm glad no one is here to see me flopping around like a fish. My wrist hits the arm of the chair with a sharp twang that resonates straight up to my shoulder, and my hip gives up on tingling and screams at me for my recklessness. I moan and slouch, rubbing my hip with my bony fingers, which does absolutely nothing to soothe the pain. My heart thumps so hard, I fear it will spring from my ribcage, and my throat is filled with sand. Whatever is in that bottom drawer, I hope it's worth all of this. I glance at the desk out of the corner of my eye. Yes, it's worth this. I don't know how I know, but I have the feeling I'd cross the ocean, not just an office, for what's inside that drawer. I give my hip another hard rub. I won't complain if there happens to be a bottle of aspirin in that drawer, too. As I suck in shuddering breaths, I wonder what my husband would think if he could see me now. I'm still tempted to call for him on my bad days, assuming he's just around the corner in the other room, before I remember, and his loss hits me afresh, and I hear screeching brakes and twisting metal, smell hot rubber and smoke. A bitter taste enters my mouth. It should have been me. And if he hadn't stubbornly angled the car to take the brunt of the impact himself, it would have been me. I push away the all-too-familiar pang of guilt embroidered with a dark thread of envy. He went out in a blaze of sacrificial glory, a hero, the way anyone would choose to go if such choices were given. Meanwhile, I've been losing myself little by little, bit by bit, until nothing remains but an empty shell. I shudder and blink away the morbid thoughts. Memory is a funny thing. One moment you'd give anything to remember, and another you'd give anything to forget. It takes half an hour to recover from my turbulent relocation, and by that time I'm starting to wonder why I'm slumped in a wheelchair instead of lying on my bed in the middle of the night. I shake my head and refocus. I need to work faster before I completely forget what I'm doing. I grip the wheels and push against the floor with my stocking feet, turning the chair to face my writing desk. Then I lift my toes and thrust the wheels forward as hard as I can. I move forward 5 inches. This is going to be harder than I thought. Wincing, grunting, and groaning, I scoot my way across the floor. I inch past my sagging bookshelves laden with the yellowed pages of first edition paperbacks and spiffy 40th anniversary hardcovers with silver and gold award seals, all signed on the title page by me, their author. The 3 bookshelves display my life's work. But I'd trade them all in an instant for whatever is in that bottom drawer. As I make my way across the hardwood floor that I spent over a month choosing, how I remember that I don't know, I repeat to myself, bottom drawer, over and over again. I can't let my diseased mind take this away from me. It's already stolen too much, including my writing, though that was one of the last things to leave me. For some reason, fictional worlds and make-believe people were easier for me to keep track of. But that last book of mine, the one that will forever remain unpublished, was a real doozy. Nothing made sense, and no matter how much I worked on it, I just seemed to tangle it more. Maybe that's what woke me. I dreamed of a way to fix my last unfinished manuscript. I give my chair another heave and cluck my tongue. No, it's more important than that, whatever it is. I continue to chant bottom drawer to myself in a rhythm with intermittent rolling. If anyone heard or saw me, they'd think I'd really lost it and have me committed. Finally, I reach my desk. I'm out of breath, every muscle on fire. My arms hang limp against my wheels, and my hip informs me it would like to vacate my body altogether. But I made it. Now, what am I doing here? I glance at the desktop and read the covers of my red and gold Christmas cards. Christmas is coming. Must be December. I look around the room. Why am I alone in this room, sitting in a wheelchair at night? All I want to do is sleep. Why am I so far away from my bed? My lips press together of their own accord, and I mumble, bottom drawer, before I can stop myself. Bottom drawer? I try to bend over to yank the drawer open, but my frame won't allow me to reach the handle. Bottom drawer, I murmur again. What's in the bottom drawer? Why am I out of bed? My strength leaves me, and my mind scatters any and all information it once held. I need to go to bed, but something besides the pain in my body protests. I'm supposed to do something. Remember something. Something important. What is it? Bottom drawer. Didn't I say that already? I can't make heads or tails out of what I'm talking about, but maybe my morning nurse can figure it out later. I'll just leave her a note and go to bed. With weak hands, I lift a pen and a scrap of paper from the corner of my desktop and scratch out the words bottom drawer. That's all I have. That's all I can remember. Hopefully my nurse can help me sort it out in the morning. I drop the pen and the paper and try to remember when I've ever felt so spent, so used up, so tired. But I can't. I can't remember anything. My sense of urgency dissipates as I turn myself around to face my bed. My chin droops toward my chest, and my eyelids fall shut. I tell myself a short nap won't hurt before I try to cross the room. My heartbeat slows, and I drift away. My husband smiles at me and opens his arms. The young man rapped on the front door and pushed it open. "Gran, I'm here for Christmas, just like I promised." He shifted a carefully wrapped box under one arm, but when he poked his head into the office, her bed sat empty. "Gran?" The bathroom door creaked open on the other side of the house, and a middle-aged woman in scrubs stopped short with a yip and placed her hand over her heart. "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear you come in." He gave her an apologetic smile. "I'm looking for my grandmother." The nurse's mouth creased into a frown. "Oh, I'm sorry. She passed away just last night. Some of the family was over early this morning. I think they tried to get a hold of you." She shifted uncomfortably. "I'm sorry," she repeated. Gran was gone? He swallowed the knot in his throat and massaged his sternum. He glanced at the gift he'd brought her, a soft fleece blanket, since she was always complaining about being cold. She'd never get to use it. The nurse clasped her hands together and pointed at him with both index fingers. "But I did find something after the others left. Maybe you can help me." She rummaged in the pocket of her uniform and handed him a folded scrap of paper. "She wrote this last night, I believe, but I can't make out what it says. Bottle drive, brother dorm, or lotion drain? I don't know, but she sure thought it was important enough to get out of bed and write it." The man took the paper, squinting at the squiggly writing. "Where did you find it?" "Right here on her desk." The woman inclined her head toward his grandmother's cherished old writing desk. He blinked. "Wait, she got out of bed?" "With a broken hip," the nurse added, one eyebrow quirked. "With a broken hip. To come to the desk and leave this note last night?" The nurse offered a one-shouldered shrug. "That's all I can figure. I found her on this side of the room in her wheelchair." The man stepped closer to the dark mahogany desk and read the paper again. "Buttons drawn." His gaze swept over the desk. Glossy top, canister of pens and pencils, box of scrap paper, 3 drawers. He squinted at the last word on the paper. It could be drawer. He pulled the top drawer open. Legal paperwork. A copy of her will. A list of bank accounts and other financial things. He shook his head and slid it shut. The second drawer contained notebooks and folders filled with unpublished story ideas and an unfinished manuscript. He frowned and shut that drawer too. He looked at the paper again. Bottom drawer. He nodded to the nurse, slowly pulling the bottom drawer open. An old book with a bright white envelope taped to the front stared up at him. The envelope bore his name in shaky cursive. With bumbling fingers that had suddenly lost all sense of feeling, he reached for the missive and slipped the note out of the envelope. To my only grandson, I'm taking advantage of a lucid moment to remember you promised to visit me for Christmas next year. I probably won't remember to give this to you myself, but know that this is my gift to you. I've written millions of words in my lifetime and hundreds of stories, but none can compare to the words contained in this story. I've highlighted a few sections I'd like you to read as soon as you are able. It's never too late to make your parents' faith your own. Love, Gran. He set the note down and trailed his fingers over the worn leather cover embossed with gold lettering. With tears in his eyes, he let out a soft chuckle when he flipped through the thin, crinkly pages to see that almost every verse was highlighted. The cover fell shut, and he clutched the book to his chest, clearing away his emotion with a cough. I guess she wanted me to have this, his voice cracked, to read it. Well, I was just on my way out, said the nurse, taking a step toward the door with a knowing look. You're welcome to stay here as long as you need. I'll lock up. She turned and left him alone. He shuffled into the living room, settled into Gran's flowery armchair, opened her favorite book, and began to read.